Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? We just saw probably one of the worst performances ever by the 49ers in primetime. You lose to a quarterback that has the worst primetime record in NFL history. It was a rough one. So we got a therapy session showing up. Clayton, I'm glad you're here with us. We're going to talk about all these things. Lots to work on. This was awful. I don't know what was worse, the offense or the defense. But the fact that the defense forced an interception on the first drive and then nothing. You forced a punt late in the fourth quarter. That was it. And you switch 2 or 3 plays, this whole game changes. If Charvarius Ward doesn't go for the interception instead of the pass breakup, Jawan Jennings catches a third down pass that he dropped. Jake Moody misses a field goal. There's just so many things that the Niners just left out there. So we want to get into it with you guys. Clayton, be open, man. I feel like this is one of the worst losses the 49ers have had in a long time.
One of the worst in my lifetime, John, when the expectations are what they are. I mean, John, how much money have we made off of primetime Kirk Cousins? And we let this man throw, oh my goodness. Let me look at the stats real quick because it's not pretty. I'll tell you, it's
he had
easily
the
over
one
300
interception.
yards.
It should have been 2, but it was bad. My whole thing, this whole was, oh my gosh, not only were the 49ers losing and leaving so much stuff out there, they got out-coached, they got outplayed, and it was awful. The fans showed up. We had a wonderful turnout. We had a great turnout last night. We had a great turnout today. The stadium was 50% red. The players and the coaches laid an egg. And I feel like every single time we do one of these shows, I am one of the most positive people out there. There's so few positive things that I can talk about with this performance. It was so bad. It was terrible.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, Kirk Cousins, 378 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and interception. And the worst part is both of those touchdowns, Sean, were on third downs. I mean, that one. Come on, man. He literally ripped the ball out of Mooney Ward's hands and ran it in. Jordan Addison, man, if you're a Vikings fan, they've done it again. Randy Moss. They had an infographic on the TV broadcast. They've got Moss, they had Thielen, they've got Jefferson, and they've got this dude now. I don't know how they keep doing it. Good for them. But, man, what is going on? It was really a failure in all 3 phases of the game, John. I mean, missed field goal, offense playing terrible, the defense just giving up so many big plays in key moments. And I think that's really the worst part of it. We've got a super chat I want to get to real quick, John. It's from Roberto. And, man, the Vikings fans, they are going nuts, John. I may have to mute you for a second just to get this comment off. I'll bring you back in, okay? Yeah, we're gonna mute my man right there real quick just so we can get this off. Roberto, thank you for the super chat, my friend. He says no defensive adjustments whatsoever, John. What's going on with that?
I think a lot of it, I'm the biggest Steve Wilkes fan there is. He has been incredible this offseason. But today, why would you keep blitzing? I don't understand. The amount of pressures that the 49ers kept blitzing, 5-6-man pressures. Kirk Cousins is so great versus the blitz. He's so great. You have to beat him with 4-man pressure. And the Niners just kept bringing 5- and 6-man pressures. And every single team the 49ers play, their entire MO is get the ball out quick. Watch Kirk Cousins followed that this whole time. Should have thrown 2 interceptions. He threw 1. but he carved us up. Like you said, almost 400 yards passing. Good Lord. I thought Tayshaun Gibson may have had his worst game for the 49ers his entire career. Like, this may have been Tayshaun Gibson's worst game of his career. With the 49ers, for sure. He's only played 2 seasons with us. Drake Jackson, awful. Anytime 95 went into the game, something terrible happened for us. It didn't matter. It was like second and 25 at a few points. Drake Jackson gets pancaked. Not saying he gave up the play, but like when 9-5's in the game, we're terrible. We are awful. That guy's – I love Drake. Perhaps he will like rebound well. He would – this was his worst game ever. Last year, the 49ers like shut him down and just said a healthy scratch from there on out. It's that time. I mean, if the Niners could do anything, the trade deadline's 1 week away. Randy Gregory was good. Film showed well. And I'm excited to jump into the film with you guys, but like Drake Jackson should play 0 snaps the rest of the year, in my opinion. And I like Drake. That dude is not an NFL caliber player, Kurt. I don't know if it feels that way.
I'll tell you what, John. There's a lot of 49ers right now who are going to be facing criticism and adversity following both last week's game versus Cleveland and this game. Drake Jackson, he's been kind of facing criticism since that first, and there they go. I'm going to mute you. I'm so sorry. But Drake Jackson, Moody, Purdy, Ayuk, the list goes on. And I think, I think it's an overreaction to say the sky is falling per se, but I think the scouting report is out on the 49ers. I think this is the part where we need to evolve, John. In years past, it's been kind of this situation where we start off slow and then, we hit our stride kind of around this time in the season, and then we go from there. Well, this year, guys, the script is different. We're going through our slump right now, and it may not get better for several weeks. But what the 49ers coaching staff and what they need to do is they really need to go and do some internal scouting, because what they're doing right now is not working. I think one thing that has really kind of been keyed on is the loss of Debo. In the last 2 weeks, that's been that one big kind of missing piece, and I think it's really thrown a wrench in Kyle's game plan, and I think defenses are taking advantage of it. What say you, John?
Yeah, I'll say this, man. I thought Brock Purdy actually had a really good game till the end. The interception late was just god-awful. But you're talking about a guy that had a 9-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio heading into this game. Like, Brock was great for 3 quarters. And overall, the 49ers never should have been down. There was no point in this game where the 49ers should have been trailing.
No.
But CMC was terrible the first quarter. Like, let's just be honest. That fumble, that took a lot of points off. Jake Moody missed the field goal. That took off points. You lose this game by what you did. There were so many
5 points.
5
points, and that's 10 points right there. 5 points, and that's 10 points we lost. Yeah, it's right there.
And so you look at this game, and it's like the Niners, we've continued to say all year, the 49ers can only beat themselves. And back-to-back weeks, the 49ers have beat themselves terribly well. Like, I mean, come on, let's be real about the Vikings. The Vikings are not going to the playoffs. The Vikings are not going to do anything significant. Like, they're not a good football team. But they destroyed us without their best player. So I'm such a big Steve Wilkes guy. But let's be real. That dude got his freaking lunch ate this week.
Big time.
It was terrible. And I do have to say the Vikings fans have been incredible this entire weekend. They've been awesome. They've hosted us. They've been kind. The Skull chant. The stadium's incredible. Niners fans, man, like,
they were there.
We got beat.
You could see them.
We got beat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
we showed up. That's the thing that sucks. We had like 50% of this like stadium. There was no point that the 49ers fans could like show pride. There was no point that the 49ers could show like the fans could show we were winning the game. They control from the start. That CMC fumble, which nobody's going to remember because he scored a touchdown and he was awesome, and CMC's always great. CMC has 2 fumbles inside the 10, and that changed the entire course of this game. It changed everything. Would we have won if CMC did not fumble? I don't want to play that game, but we fed into everything they wanted, and that's on us. Like, it's on the Niners. You give up almost 400 yards, maybe over 400 yards, because I was checking the stat line before I came down to record the show. But, like,
easily.
This is a terrible offense.
It's easily terrible. Over 400 yards. It's like 450-some yards of offense by the Vikings.
You are not the best defense in the NFL.
Not a chance.
Give up 400 yards to this team. This is not a good team. It's not a good team.
No.
And I'm sorry, but, like, Steve Wilkes was terrible to me. They knew every single thing he was going to do. Steve Wilkes, and I love Steve Wilkes. I think it was a great hire. I think he's been A+ up to this point. Steve Wilkes, that dude got dunked on today.
Big time.
Yeah.
It's rough. Juan Salas, the great Juan Salas. He writes, hey, look, we're 5-2. We're still first in the West, and we're tied for second in the NFC still. Again, the sky isn't falling. It feels really rough, especially considering we're stacking losses now. I think that's really the worst part of it, is we're just stacking losses, John. But, we're still putting things into perspective. We're still first in the West. We've got that NFC seed still. It's the number 1 seed is still attainable. It's not out of the question by any stretch. So I think we just need to limp into the bye and just get some coaching points really solidified and maybe change something up. Something has to give, John, because we can't keep coming out here and doing this every week, or it's not going to end well.
I think you said it well. Well, like, every single, like, whatever it is the Niners had envisioned to start the season, the first seed, home advantage during the playoffs, bye week, all that stuff, still available. You beat the Eagles. You're good.
It's good,
but you continue to give people reason to doubt. And this is on prime time. This is Monday. This is a Monday Night Football game. And
everyone's watching. The whole country. Not at all.
What the Browns did last week and what the Vikings did this week, you gave the game plan to everybody. The NFL is watching this. They're scouting this, and they're saying, look, man, here's how you beat them. Here's how you beat them. You guess the blitzes. You do what you got to do. You convert on third down. The 49ers defense was god-awful today. The 49ers, they were really bad, man. So it's a bittersweet thing because you showed everybody who you are, which is not great. But every single thing that you want as far as first-round bye, home field advantage, all still available. This season still comes down to 3 weeks. Seattle, Eagles, Seattle. If they take care of business on those 3 trips, nothing else matters.
We're good.
But what you're doing is you're shaving down the leniency or the extra that you have available. Yeah. It just keeps going down, man. So I want to get to some more comments. So Clayton, let's put up some more comments there. Let's talk about these.
Well, I've got Jonas right here with the super chat. Thank you, my friend. He said, "Hey, look, I couldn't watch perfectly, but the play call on that last play, was it 3 vert with a deep in and no checkdowns? That's a terrible call against prevent defense if that's the case. We could have taken the 10 and 15 yards they were given on those underneath routes, and yet we forced a ball in there, and the game ended." What'd you see, John?
Brock Purdy was pretty good all game. He was actually incredible all game until that point. That was a terrible decision. My biggest thing on the play calling, Jordan Mason, 0 snaps offensively.
What's up with that?
What the hell? You're playing a soft-ass defense that cannot stop the run vertically, and you didn't even put in your most physical running back. You put in Elijah Mitchell a few times. He didn't do well. And CMC's incredible. I'm not saying take CMC out, but, you're playing against a team with the softest defensive tackles in the NFL. not the NFC, not the NFC North. Like,
The
and you never
NFL.
exploited
Yeah.
that.
John, listen to this.
Jordan,
Listen to this, John. 22 carries in total by the 49ers. It was Christian McCaffrey with 15. That's predictable. You can see that coming. Brock Purdy with his scrambles and the, diving for
great
first downs. And he did great. But then the other 2 carries, George Kittle, 1 carry for 2 yards, and Elijah Mitchell, 1 carry for, get this, -1 yards. John, there's another aspect of the game that we're just giving away. If Christian McCaffrey isn't in the game, they're not going to run the ball. And they don't. So why are we not mixing it up, especially when we know that these guys don't defend the run? It doesn't make sense to me, and I don't think it makes sense to you either.
oh, it was weird. And I love CMC as much as anybody. It's been like he continued his touchdown streak. He's now 1 away from the all-time record with Lenny Moore, which is great. But CMC sucked the first quarter. Like, he was terrible. The blocking was terrible. The fumble was terrible. You're taking points off the board. Not saying you should stop using CMC, but, like, the game plan didn't work. Shanahan is at his best to start games. At his best. Everything was on point, on pace, until that CMC fumble, and then everything just went haywire. I mean, I understand that CMC is, like, he's probably still going to win Offensive Player of the Year.
And he should.
But he should. And I love him. The trade was worth it. He's incredible. He's unbelievable. But 2 fumbles inside the 10-yard line in a month? That's awful.
Tough. Yeah.
This dude needs to fix that because we won the other game, and, like, he laughed about it afterwards, whatever else. Like, that fumble cost the game. That changed the entire game. And I understand that everybody loves CMC and, like, any type of negative whatever to him is not welcomed. But, like, CMC, that dude cost this game. That fumble changed the trajectory of this entire enterprise. And I don't want to, like, just bypass it.
Yeah. But it was,
It was huge.
It was rough. Here's Maria. Thank you for the super chat. She's given us a shot, John, which we appreciate and will be taking you up on. No doubt. No doubt about that one. Appreciate you. And I mean, just the consensus in here is we're overrated right now. I think we were drinking our own Kool-Aid, and I think it's coming back to bite us. And how are they going to respond? I think that's really the big question going forward is how do you respond to adversity? Because that's what makes a great football team, John. It's not how well you run the plays. I mean, it is, but, like, it's how when you're getting punched in the mouth, what do you do?
Yes.
How do you fix it?
And so, I mean, we said the same thing last week after they lost to the Browns. Like, you're playing primetime football. You get to show everybody who you are. Maybe the 49ers showed everybody who they are. We're playing, after this, the Bengals on plus 8 days rest. Bengals didn't play this week. Every single body on their team, coaching staff watched this game, and they all shrugged their shoulders and said, we good. So we have to play them on a short week. They're plus 8 days rest. Now, the Niners are in control of everything. They show up, they do their job, they should beat the Bengals. We'll be favored, whatever else. But at the same time, like, I'm a better, man. I do not feel confident in this team going forward. Not saying we're not going to, like, accomplish whatever and win the division, whatever else. But the Niners have to prove to themselves. The Niners have to prove to everybody else. You got to go out and win. And now you got Joe Burrow, who's healthy, and playing like Joe Burrow with 8+ days rest. We'll see, man. This week's going to be crazy.
It's not a recipe for success, John, but they have to find a way. This game, as much as you're saying that it comes down to the 2 Seattle weeks and the Eagles, this game is very important for the narrative's sake. Because if you lose this game and you're just giving away games, these last 2 games, John, there really wasn't a doubt in my mind coming in that they would win. And I think that's part of the issue. Because if I'm feeling that way and I'm sitting here on my couch, how do they feel, man? They must feel like they got this shit. And excuse my language, but clearly they don't. So something has to give. Something just has to give.
And on top of all those things, the Minnesota Vikings were your number one trade partner for an edge rusher, for an offensive tackle, and you just gave them hope that they might be able to like participate in the postseason. Like this is like the ultimate double negative that the Niners pulled off. I mean, every single goal they have is still available, but they just continue to shoot themselves in the foot against bad teams. I feel like the 49ers are turning into like a goldfish team. Like you grow as big as the environment that is provided to you. Vikings are not a good football team. They're not good. And you just made them feel good. The Browns are good. But as a backup quarterback, huge opportunities lost.
Yeah. XFL quarterback last week. Primetime Kirk Cousins this week.
You
That
lost
doesn't
to
look good.
primetime Kirk Cousins.
It doesn't look good.
I'm embarrassed. I'm
Yeah.
embarrassed. But, Clayton, I want to say thank you real quick. Let's
Absolutely.
do one more comment, then
Let's
we're going
do
to take
it.
this show out.
Let's do it.
let's do
I have
that.
two. I have two that I want to get to.
Yes, sir.
This
yes,
one,
sir.
this one I thought was very interesting from Slick. Thanks for the comment. No sacks, John. What's going on with the D line? We paid too much money for this, he says. How can primetime Kirk Cousins come out of this game with a clean jersey? Makes no sense.
We did hit Kirk Cousins considerably. The MO for 49ers games is get the ball out quick. The film, when we break that down on the 49ersrush.com and our Patreon channel, like, we hit Kirk a lot. But we made regular time Kirk Cousins look like, I don't know, man. That was the best game Kirk Cousins has ever had in primetime ever. And that should always be like we missed an opportunity. Like, I'm putting my kids through college betting against primetime Kirk Cousins, and that dude, he walloped us today. So it's terrible, man.
I want to sneak my own question here, John, and then we're going to get to one more. What does this do? And I know we don't want to talk about the offseason rumor mill right now, but what does this do to the Kirk Cousins to the Niners rumor mill?
This was not a bad Brock Purdy game. Brock was awesome until that last series. Like, Brock was way better than Kirk Cousins today. Like, you put the whole game into perspective, Brock was better than Kirk. Our coaching wasn't better than Kirk. Our coaching wasn't, like, we didn't seize the opportunities. So I don't think that this affects it. Brock was great. We did not lose the game because of Brock. Yeah, the interception late. Yes, he's got 2 interceptions in back-to-back games. But Kirk Cousins has 5 picks, man. 5 interceptions on the year. Brock's got 2. Like, this does not affect any of that at all, in my own personal opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I do not want Kirk Cousins playing quarterback for us. And Brock should be the guy. Plus, Brock doesn't even count against the 53-man salary cap. If you got Kirk Cousins, he's $38 million minimum. So I think he takes up all the salary cap. You couldn't have Ayuk. You couldn't have so many other guys. So I think that's the difference.
I'm good. I'm good without him as well. Here's our last question, John, and it, ironically enough, is from John. He writes to you, the depth on this team, it's been oversold. Of course there's going to be drop-offs when players get hurt, and there were a lot of players that were going down. Thank God Fred Warner came back in the game. I was about to turn my TV off. But anyways, I'm sorry. He continues to write, we can't be a completely different team losing a couple of key players. What's going on here? Where's the pre-snap motion? Where's all the things that make us who we are?
I thought Jalen Moore was good. Like, we did not lose this game because Trent Williams was out. We did not. That's not why we lost this game. We lost this game because of coaching. We lost this game because of defense. We lost this game because primetime players did not show up at the primetime moments. We didn't make the big play. There were so many times where I was looking to Rusty, my buddy, and I was saying, like, dude, this is the moment. This is where the 49ers win, and we did nothing. We laid eggs. So the depth is a concern, yes, but Tayshaun Gibson was terrible today. He was awful. He was so bad. And it's just like Drake Jackson was terrible. Like there's a lot of players on this team. Spencer Burford didn't have a great game. Well, until we go through the film, we'll be able to figure those things out. But like, Niners did not show up today. They a primetime game, Monday Night Football. You have the most Monday Night Football game wins in the history of the NFL, and you laid an egg. And it started with that CMC fumble. I hate I'm going back to that. We left everything out there. So, Clayton, I'll let you take the show away. We've got a lot of people out here. We're going to go hang out with them. We want to make sure we pay attention to the people that showed up. But I'm thankful to everybody watching this. It sucks, but Niners still in first place.
We're still there.
That's what we got to rest on. So, Clayton, take the show out. Appreciate everybody watching. And it's going to get better. We're going to explain all of this on the 49ers Rush and our Patreon channel. We'll walk you guys through everything.
Absolutely we will, John. And I think it's getting a little cliche at this point. But, John, we end every single show this way for a reason.
Same way.
Because it doesn't matter if we're up or if we're down, if we're in first place, if we're in last place.
Yes.
The goal remains the same. We have to stay faithful. And there are tests in every single NFL season in life. And if you take anything away from this week, it's to stay frickin' faithful. I almost said the 4-letter version of that word, but I decided I wouldn't do that. It's not that bad yet. But, guys, we will see you so many times this week. We're going to break it all down. Come hang out with us here on YouTube, on the podcast feed, on the 49ersrush.com. We're going to be there. And, guys, as always, stay strong, faithful. Peace.